Hey everyone, welcome back to another video for coding. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is pretend rock, paper, scissors, which is really just two-player rock, paper, scissors. That's not the computer, it's you and a friend. So we're going to be doing this in coding in C++ as of usual. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is start off with our usual introductions. So I covered why we use these in a previous video on the channel. You can check those out, and I'm not sure if I'll put it in the description, but if you check on my channel, you'll find them. So then the next thing that we're going to want to do, is go and start working on our main function. So we're going to go int main. So for this assignment, there is a couple ways to do it. You don't have to do it the exact same way I'm doing it. We like to start at the very bottom with return 0 so you don't forget at the end. Make sure you put your semicolon. Type once. And then the next thing that you're going to want to do is define your variables. So I'm going to be using x and y. The reason you want two variables in this assignment is so that you can use them to define exactly what you're using. So, such as in this case, rock is going to be equal to 1, paper is going to be equal to 2, and scissors is going to be equal to 3. So to start us off here, we're going to start with cout is equal to 1. Now, each of these are on a different line, so remember, you have to use the end line function. Sure, you can use the /n, however, I find that this is more reliable. You want to do the same thing for the rest of them inside the assignment. Okay, so now we're going to run this after it's been all typed and make sure that it still works. Make sure that you choose a language to be C++. Perfect. It's exactly how we want it to look. Now what we're going to want to do is have it so that it looks like here, right on the pretend rock, paper, scissors thing. So I'm just going to word it as player 1's choice. Then, after you finish up that, you're going to want your cin. This is going to be x. So throughout your entire function, remember that x is going to be equal to what player 1 has chosen. And then you're going to do the same thing for player 2. Remember, this time, use y. So now, you're at the section of where the previous coding assignment is going to be very useful to you. In fact, for most of that, you probably can just copy and paste with a couple of modifications to your code. However, in this case, we're just going to go through it again. So what you're going to want to do is have if statements set up in a nesting order. So if x is equal to 1, your output is going to be cout. Player 1 chose top. You don't need to do an end line for this function. Remember, for this function, you're going to want to do lots of if-else statements, with each if-else statement nested inside the previous. So as you can see here, I'm doing the next if inside of the previous else. So if x is equal to 2, we are going to get the output of player 1 chose. And continue to follow up. Remember, don't forget your semicolons. Then finally, what you're going to want to have for your final else statement is cout error. In quotations. The reason you want to do this is so that later in the function, when you're using the actual in-depth procedure of what tracks has been chosen up here, you want it so that if you have something that is invalid, it does not run the function. So you're able to see what went wrong in the console. Now that we have the entire of player 1 finished, we're going to just enter in player 2. So something that I'm adding here beforehand is a cout with a just end line. The reason I'm doing this is so that after it goes through anything, as soon as we enter in player 2, it is going to skip a line. Okay, so the next section of all this code is going to be the while loops. So there's a couple of different ways to do this section, but I find this one to be the easiest to explain. So a while loop is exactly what it sounds. When you have the function met inside the loop, it is going to repeat it until it is told to break. So it's essentially like an if statement without needing an else. So while x is equal to y, we're going to have the cout you have tied. And now you don't need an else statement. However, what you do need here is a break statement. So what you're going to do is just type in break semicolon. One quick correction is once you finish up down here, go back up here and remove these end lines on lines 12 and 14. They were not needed. Now if we run the program, hopefully without any errors, we shall see that we have the option to enter in choices. Now to make sure that our while loop works, we're just going to enter in 2 of the same value. Perfect, see? So it tells us that we both got rock and that we have tied. Wonderful. So now what we're going to do is repeat many while loops so that we end up with each possible combination of x and y and who can win and lose. The reason you shall do this is to make sure that any possible combination is allowed. Here's an example of one. So in this one, it's going to be while player 1 has chosen x is equal to 1. Now, to get it to player 2 has chosen scissors it is going to be y is equal to 2. This is inside the same while loop here, okay? Now we're going to have a cout of player 2 wins. Remember, you need to have your break statement, otherwise it is just going to fill your entire console with continuous player 2 wins or you have ties. That's why you need this break statement. Alright, let's make sure this works. Beautiful. As you can see, it works. So now I'm just going to jump ahead to where I've already entered all of these. Alright, I hope you've caught up with me. So now we have every single combination here. So let's give this a shot. See, it works fine. And I'm going to show you what happens if you run this and you have two variables entered that are not equal to 1 through 3. See, it provides error values. So instead of running through all these while loops here, it has not wasted your time. Alright, I hope you have learned something for today. And I genuinely hope that now you can see how to do these. In the future, just keep checking back in here for more future updates on this class. Have a nice day. Bye.